But to change the door colors, because so many people they don't like that green.
Right.
They're tired of it.
Right.
And including the roof in the material alteration. The building is considered a beige tone, although it looks kind of peachy to me. That's just the way my eye sees it. But it is supposed to be some kind of a beige.
Right, okay, so
beige is not a offensive color.
Right.
The green has become one.
Right. No,
So
but
we were going to try and get a material alteration vote from the community to change
use
the color
that
of
roof
the door.
going forward onto the
and
rest of the
Yeah,
use
Nancy's
that-
answering a different question than you're asking.
Yeah.
What he's saying
Yes,
is that's
and
fine, but
use
that would
the
be.
roof. Now, there is one caveat that I have to throw in here because this is always what I do. If the roof is not available, what are we gonna do?
We have to bring it to the board and make
I
that
understand
decision.
that
That's
part.
what we have to do.
I understand
Not
that
just
part.
have a
But
director
what
say,
I'm
oh,
saying-
go ahead.
What I'm saying is how close we can get to it, I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's in the future,
That's
but
a
the
future
point is,
thing.
it has
But
to
I
be
just
brought,
wanted to play devil's advocate
Yeah.
and bring it up.
samples to the board, say,
These
look, you
are not
want this or
always
that.
perfect.
Yeah.
You know, the
And not
sample
just
that I
somebody's
had, it was the size of my
individual's
finger.
decision.
I'm gonna have Jeremy give you some prices. What would the cost be? You said we could use the proxy that we have, right? To give us the language for the gable vote and for the roof vote. Give me a roundabout.
That's $175. That's to interact with communications and prepare the language. Those are quick.
Okay.
And
Those are
No,
quick.
no.
Those are
that's
quick.
1 and 5, right?
No, that's the attorney cost, and that's
Three,
for,
it
that's
would
for
be
3 and 5 and the
3
roof?
and 5 and
Yeah.
five.
Okay.
So one.
All right,
one,
so,
3,
and
5.
if CNS agrees to, all right, as long as nobody says the F word to me again, because I can't say it back. If CNS agrees to pay for the printing and the postage, you have a free meeting room. Why don't we just schedule a meeting and get it done for all of you?
Let's do it.
I would like to add changing the green. If we're gonna do this,
Oh, well, that's another topic.
well, it's another topic,
Well,
but,
no, we don't have to do it next week. Let's put the green on the next board meeting. We're not gonna talk about that tonight, but we'll.
oh, right.
But I think
But I mean, wrapping it into that
And that's not
proxy.
175, and I'm not paying for that. No.
No, but I mean, would that make sense though?
No, you're making it bigger than it is. We're trying to fix mistakes. Sorry, go
Also,
ahead.
yeah, fix the mistake. Then I think what you all need to find is what's your identity for the community going forward, because it looks like, all right, we're kind of tired of some of the existing stuff, and as it's getting damaged, we might want to change the doors, change something else. Figure out what that is and what you want to look like and kind of sketch it out, and then we can, come up with other votes, and then, all right, we've approved a specific type of color of roof. All right, so now we know all contracts going forward, whatever, if you're going to change your roof, here's the new color, and everybody's got to go with it, and we'll eventually transition over or change the doors, whatever it might be. I think that's going to take some time, but these things can be quicker to just get that fixed.
And what you guys want to include typically, and I think Jeremy will tell you, like, we've done this at other associations, but this is like putting a group together, or you guys doing it, and coming up with some color schemes and palettes and all for the whole board to look at, decide on, before you even ask the owners of the vote.
Correct.
I agree.
Right,
Correct. Oh, no, totally,
yeah.
totally.
So we're not gonna be ready for that. I'm talking about doing this in the next month or two. Get this done, so Nancy's covered, Charlie's covered, Robin's covered. We're done with this, moving forward. We have a standard for these buildings moving forward. And,
Thoughts?
Before we make a vote on anything, like input,
Yep.
and I don't want to spend any money on my gables on any vote or anything. I think they're gonna just can it, and so I don't want to spend any money on a vote by my owners. I think I've already got a pretty good idea what they want to do, and so, and nobody's complaining about it, so.
if the
as far as I
master
know.
pays the $175, if I donate the printing and postage, and you have a free clubhouse.
Well, no,
Right. It wouldn't, it
I-
doesn't
no.
affect you either way.
I-
Your
no,
owners
I-
are gonna vote the way they vote.
I hear what Charlie's saying in regards of the 5-year to replace the
We're
rest
not
of the
saying,
gable.
No, no, we're not
saying anything
approved
about
to
We're not
change
doing
it
that.
We're
moving
just
forward, everything's
kinda-
stuck it.
I
Whoops,
do-
we may have still got to vote, and then if we want to change it in the future, we can.
I have a question. The master's gonna pay the 175. Where's the master gonna get the 175?
The master has 175, but I told Tom, we have plans for it, because you're right, there are 4 clusters that owe the master a chunk of money.
Yes.
And in the fall, you're gonna owe another chunk, assuming the insurance goes up again. So, we do have an issue there that has to be taken care of. However, the loan for the clubhouse was built into the budget for the year. And the clubhouse is paid off now, yeah. So that
Woo-hoo, we
little,
own this place.
it's not a lot, but that little bit that was going toward the clubhouse each month is there. Hence, Jeremy, we can pay you for tonight. You can
He's not
afford
volunteering
some of
this
this.
time?
You can afford some of this so that we can get these things ironed out and move forward smoother, so.
Okay.
But no bushes, I told her. First thing
Well,
you're going
I
to
have
do is
a-
spend
Well, I'm buying the
money.
bushes.
I've got an idea for that too, but nobody wants to hear it.
All right, so do you want to?
I can say that.
Can we get an owner? in?
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yep, Janet, come on, you're up, you're up.
Okay, I'm up. Oh darn, I forgot what it was.
Everybody's walking to the podium, the mic's not.
That's
love
it.
That's all right.
That's
Okay.
Mike.
There's no one left.
You want the mic?
No,
No, it's not
no.
even.
I don't know really what all I'm gonna say here, other than we don't have a problem in cluster 5. We understand that what came down in the hurricane needed to be fixed. Those sidings, we have tried to match for years. We've gone round and round. Some match, some don't over the years. Going to the stucco was the best thing to do. To me, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Why are we gonna rip down good siding that's up there just to have it match? I mean, at some point, if it comes down with another hurricane or whatever, or it gets damaged in a storm, then you replace it. We're all scrambling for
That's the way it should be.
pennies and dimes here to say, let's put money aside so we rip down something that's fine, just for that purpose, to me seems ridiculous. The fact that we did the stucco is in the same consistency with the other buildings. We didn't do something different. The other buildings, cluster 4 doesn't have it up there, cluster 2 doesn't have it up there, cluster 1 doesn't. So we weren't doing anything different. We were just doing the same thing as everybody else, but instead of ripping it all down, we're doing it piece by piece. It's not broke, why are we gonna pay money for it, okay? As far as the roofing goes, I mean, you know, it ended up being a screw up with the different color or whatever else. But like you say, all of our roofs are old, all of our roofs look like that. So if they start with a different color and they all do it in cluster 1, as Edna said, as we go forward, what if we all end up changing it? I mean, what's the big deal? If it's this little dark color or this little beige color, as long as it all looks nice and we all look up to date, I don't understand what the big fuss and the big to-do is. We didn't do the procedures right the first time, so do them right going forward. We do them right from now on. You come to the board, everybody votes, the board makes the decision, and you go from there. Nobody's off willy-nilly doing their own thing, okay? We did that before, shame on everybody. Now you know better, you do better.
Very
good
job.
job.
I
Yes.
don't think that everybody is off doing willy-nilly. I think we're doing the best we can.
That's right.
Oh,
It's
I do
always
too.
been.
It's all based on the stuff that we're
It's-
presented.
Listen, it's always been, my husband was on the board 10, 15 years ago, and I understand. And CNS, back in those days, they did everything. They came up with all of the contracts and everything. The board member only, they got 3 bids, they made the decision,
Right.
but they didn't go out hunting like they've had to do in the past.
Right.
This is exactly why nobody wants to be on the board.
Right.
I mean, you know, this simple little job of being a neighbor and being on the board has turned into a nightmare. So nobody wants to be on the board. Poor Edna, she's gonna live and die on the board. I mean, she can't talk. So, I mean, it's just, Yeah.
Get rid of her this soon, I mean, easy.
But I mean, it's just, that's what's happened, you know, so I understand why Charlie was pushing for you to be able, because that's the
It's
way
our
it was.
job, it's in our
That's
contract.
right, that's the way it was, is that you were supposed to come, you know all the contractors, you deal with all of that. These guys are, you know, flipping a coin, they don't know. So they're going by your professionalism and your knowledge. And, you know, everybody's learning, and so now you know, you can't go off and do anything and pick any color and whatever. And the same thing with the painting. We had a painting committee when we had to do all of this. We had a painting committee, but the painting committee consisted of about 8 people, I'm gonna say 7, 8 people. Because the more people you get, the more opinions you get, the more decisions. We were never gonna come up with anything. So we came up with what we have. Was the green the best? It was the best that the 7 of us came up with,
At the time,
that we
it
could
was.
agree.
And at
We
the time, it
presented
was
it at the
current.
board, and everybody liked it. Is it old now? Sure. Is everybody wanting to find something different? Sure. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, I said it.
Very good, Jenny, very good.
Are we doing the parking, or are we skipping that today?
No,
No.
we're getting there.
It's on there, we're trying.
Oh, we have, oh, okay,
We're
we're
getting
doing by
there.
Is
topic.
there any other,
I got confused.
Comments on the,
Carol, did you want
No.
to say something?
Carol, did you have something?
Well, I just want to point one thing out.
there's no mic, you might as well just yell.
When you look at cluster 1, we were the first one built. The subsequent clusters that were built do not have the kind of porches and decks. We're all concrete. So the continuity thing, you know, if everybody was looking to us and we're doing that back then, they all should have had concrete. And now you have all that expense with your railings and your decks and all that, and your stairs. Ours are all concrete, all we do is paint them. So we're, you know, from our perspective, you know, I don't get all this continuity thing, but I do remember, I was on the painting committee, as a matter of fact, I was in charge of it. We went out to the island, because there was even suggestions that each cluster would be a different color, with a different color scheme. So when you drove into Pebble Springs, you could figure out, oh, cluster 1 is the blue one, cluster 2 is the yellow one, that kind of thing. But that was up for consideration. But every cluster had a vote for picking the color that's current. And we proposed, I think there were like 3 concepts, and everybody, it was unanimous, 75% from each cluster had to be that, you know. And that's what we ended up. But anyway, just back to continuity, I would just get a big kick out of that, because I'm thinking about our steps and everything. And if everybody had done that, then
Yeah, I don't want to be preparing and,
yeah, here we are.
all right, any other comments? Okay,
All right.
next item, or do you
How you're
need,
gonna tell me about my letter.
are we gonna make a motion? Are we gonna make a motion to, we need to make a motion to,
have the attorney prepare.
Have the attorney
it.
prepare.
Do you need a motion for that?
Probably could do it, just your authority, but if you want to make a motion to go ahead and.
To do
recommend
what?
Prepare a proxy after you.
He's gonna give us the language, we're gonna do
Yep.
the vote.
What's the cost?
$175, we're gonna pay the attorney $175 collectively.
anybody wanna make a
That's
motion?
$1 a unit.
Okay, so that'll be divided by 6.
No.
No, it's
No,
coming.
master,
Sorry,
master, master pay.
Oh, the
Yeah, well, that brings
master-
into $1 a unit.
Well, it
pretty
still
much,
comes
yeah.
out to $1 a
Yeah.
unit, okay.
All right, I make a motion that the attorney prepares a proxy for the stucco and the roofs in cluster 1.
Well, he's gonna give us the language, probably
Right.
already done, right?
Yeah,
Okay, second.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Holy crap.
Still here.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right. Consideration of attorney recommendation regarding parking matters.
Yeah, so I understand that, you know, there's a little bit of a heartache, you know, a little bit of disagreement on parking. So we talked about how each of you, the way that it was set up, and you have your own declaration, you have your own budget, and you have your own buildings, and there could be some deviation that you go from everybody. But then, there's another part of your declaration that talks about the integrated parts, the parts where everybody, you know, just because you live in cluster 1, you have the authority to walk over and drive all through the parks, even if you're going over another cluster. So it contemplated, okay, you're gonna have your own buildings, your own budgets, but then you have this kind of integrated portion. And there's been, I know that on this board, there's been a lot of discussion of who regulates parking. Does each individual cluster regulate parking? The answer is no, because again, the decision making is back on the board. And it says in your documents, specifically in each declaration, it says the unit owners in the aggregate. So it's talking about all of the unit owners, not just the unit owners in that section, shall be entitled to full use and enjoyment of all common elements, except as may be restricted by reasonable rules and regulations adopted by the board's board of directors. Which such uses shall always be in recognition with the mutual rights and responsibilities of each of the owners. So the board has the ability to adopt parking restrictions throughout the community. Now you can't eliminate somebody's exclusive use because you have your own storage space, you have your own one parking space. I believe that's been assigned to each of the owners. But any of those unassigned spots, the board can determine. And it's my opinion, it's been my opinion for several years now, that you know an individual section can't say don't park on our area, because guess what?
What about limited common elements? Because I was under the impression that that's what they are. The parking spaces are limited common elements.
I'm like, where am I answering? What's pertinent to your condo, so your carport, I think you have carports, right?
You're
Your
right.
carport
Yeah.
is a limited common element for you. Someone's balcony that only they can use, someone's patio that only they can use. In other words, only that unit owner can use it or assign it. It's a limited common element. Everything else common element.
Correct. And that's why in here it says everybody, all in the aggregate are all entitled to the full use and enjoyment, and we subject to the reasonable rules. So we can adopt guest parking, we can you know adopt whatever we'd like for those unassigned spots, and of course, what Jen's saying, you can't you know say, oh, we allow people to park in your covered area. No, because that's exclusive use.
And you just said, as may be adopted or may be changed or whatever by the board of directors.
Correct.
You just read that.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you the board have the authority to decide, and again, I know there's some disagreement, but individual directors can't make the decision for their community because there's no basis in any of the documents that says that individual director makes that decision. And I believe that you know, we have an instance where there may have been a sign. Hopefully that's been resolved. I don't know.
Nope.
Nope.
They're still up, and they will be for another 12 days.
Oh.
Because I was given 15 days before
Okay.
they were gonna come down.
Okay.
I was gonna take them down today, but when I got your letter, I got so pissed off, it wasn't even funny. So I said, fine, we'll keep them up for the full 15 days.
Pissed off though because you want to break the rules? What do you
Sure,
mean?
Michael, that's just my goal in life.
No, but you
Mike-
just
Mike-
said.
Michael.
What?
Michael,
know
just
you're-
stop.
He just, I'm just
Oh,
saying,
stop.
I'm trying to get how
Stop.
she thinks.
Stop.
just-
Well, I'd like to understand a few things
Stop.
about how you think, but
Stop.
I'm not gonna go
Stop.
there.
Yeah.
Well, I'll
Stop.
be happy to have that
Please stop.
conversation.
Well, you need 3
So-
people involved in that.
So, but
All right.
maybe just wrap it up. I think everybody, I think we kind of understand now, hopefully a little bit better, that decision-making really isn't for each of the individual directors. You need to come to the board needs to make a decision. So if the board wants to reevaluate and create more restricted parking, it says restricted by reasonable rules, you could come up with something. But as of right now, everyone has the equal use and enjoyment for any unassigned parking spots.
And I have a question for you.
Me too.
How do we work this out when we have,
Arm wrestling.
I would rather, do that thing with the ball with the big knob sticking out of it, the points.
Okay.
That would be a lot more.
Coronavirus?
No, I'm sorry, you had a serious question.
agree
Yeah.
with
You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. The question that I have is, and this is my opinion,
Yeah.
this is based on observations. This is also based on what you would probably call hearsay because it's come from other people. We have 3 people on this board, all of them intended to be, all are male. They have meetings They get together in their little parking lots, or in wherever they go. And there's all kinds of decisions that get made that exclude the other 3 directors. And all of a sudden, they come here and things are changed. And they have this information and that information, and questions and all this kind of stuff. And there's one in particular who is like on my ass every time I turn around. Okay? And I, right to here. I have an attorney who I personally have hired.
Okay.
Because I'm tired of this shit. And I may be going after harassment unless it stops. 3 board members do not a decision make. That's not a quorum, that's nothing. But that appears to be what's going on here. And I don't think it's right. I'm sorry, I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right that it's taken me over 2 months to ask you a question and get an answer. 2 months I've been trying to get a question answered. Since the beginning of February. One time we had an appointment and you got held up in a meeting. This kind of stuff is what is causing a lot of dissension. That in dissension within myself, okay? Because I can't include any of them because the rest of them are in the same little clubhouse. I'm the odd man out. And it's not because I'm always wrong. It is not because I'm always wrong. It is because they choose to exclude me. When I was the acting president of the board, I tried to get an audience with you. That didn't happen. And I was the acting president of the board. I had questions that needed to be answered prior to the annual meeting because there were things that were going to be coming up. I went to that meeting unprepared, unable to ask the questions. The meeting was the 1st of March. The 1st of March. This is the annoyance of my life because I spend so much time trying to make this place better. My goal is not to f this place up or to make it any worse. And I know you don't like that word, Janet, but I'm sorry.
I know that word. I'm from New Jersey. I just think
here.
it should be left out of the meetings.
I have had my fill of feeling like I am the odd man out all the time when all I'm trying to do is make my cluster better. Being told we have too many flowers. Well, you know what you can do with your idea about too many flowers? Yeah, that's exactly what they can do with it. Sit on it and swivel. But the bottom line is, how do you get a board that is so ridiculously divided? So ridiculously divided, where they will literally go to another board member's home and badmouth another member because it's been done. How do you get over that?
That's hard. That's hard.
Yeah,
That
it's
is.
real hard. And maybe a few of them need to have a hand slap or something, because enough is enough with this crap. And that's what keeps going on and keeps going on. And yes, my patience is worn beyond thin.
I think if
On
you
this
guys
whole
go
thing.
back to the beginning, to the procedure, and it's coming before the whole board, and the 3 you're discussing, you don't have a quorum. They don't have to vote.
Don't have a vote.
But you know what? They still make the decisions. Read the parking section. There are so many holes in it and so many questions in it.
Nancy, we
You
sat
know
here
that-
for 2 hours and
Yeah.
went
I
over
know.
Why didn't you
line
speak
by
up?
I
line.
know.
And
I did.
And
I
Nancy-
did, but when it came back in, it wasn't sufficient.
Nancy,
Oh my
No.
goodness.
Nancy, you know, going back to, fine, the parking section. Once again, we're doing the best we can. Truthfully, you know what we should have done?
Should have left it alone.
Coughed up all money, right as the parking section. And we can do that.
Yep.
You know, I mean,
Just like
I mean,
he said,
there's,
they can reassign all of our covered parking places too.
there's certain people that yeah, maybe have no trust in the board, or think that the board's doing nothing. Well, you know what? We can stop doing everything and just
Isn't that
pork
pretty much what you've done?
up more money, and
Sending
we
it
can.
all,
We
sending it all to CNS?
honestly,
And I understand, we're paying
honestly,
them.
we're paying
We're
them.
paying them.
I'm-
And I understand
I'm not gonna say I'm
the
making
need.
her do her
I
job.
understand the need for giving the work to CNS.
I think there'll be less errors
But
if it all runs
to
through
answer
CNS.
the
like
question
the
that I
normal
have in
association.
that regard is, you have people helping you, Do you have others that are assistants that are working with you? Or is a request gonna come in and sit there for 3.5 weeks because it got missed?
When have you ever
No,
had
you
something
haven't.
sit there for me
I'm
for
not
3
saying-
weeks?
I haven't.
3 days tops if
I-
I'm sick, out of the
Did
country.
you hear what I said? Do you
Yeah.
have assistants who help you? Because I don't think with 176 units in this complex, that one person is capable of handling it alone. That's the question I'm asking you.
Nancy,
How long is
you
thing-
are my second smallest association.
And I know you have others,
And I
many
handle
others.
them alone. I
And
got one that's over
understand that.
700, I don't have any help on. I have help when it comes to mailing. I have
Okay.
my accounting department that does all the accounting. I have someone who does the background checks and the estoppels. I deal with the agenda, the minutes. I deal with the compliance, the work orders, the emails, the phone calls, the angry. That's what I deal with, that's what I do. Some days, most days, Pebble Springs is most of my inbox. Other days, Pebble Springs, I don't hear from hardly anybody. And
Okay.
another association.
I just wanna be sure before I start sending everything to you, that you can actually handle it in the same timeline that I handle it. And I'm not afraid to give it up because I am to here with this entire situation.
And you know what, Nancy?
I have the right to resign.
And I'm not.
And I know that.
No. At the end of the day, if you send stuff to Janet that doesn't get done and CNS doesn't do their job, no different than him, no different than the pool company, no different than any other contractor, then you need to bring it up at the meeting with the evidence. Don't just say it.
Okay.
Bring it up with the emails that you've sent, the documentation, and the board has a duty to step back and go, okay, there is sufficient evidence that
And I'm fine
CNS
with
isn't
that.
doing their job.
I'm fine with that. I am fine with that. I don't have a problem with that.
I've told everybody, I'm done with just, oh, hey, let's talk about this today. No, bring me something. We need to be looking at stuff. And as far as board communication, Nancy, I do, not saying we're doing anything in the background, but there's certain things that we can talk about as a board. I have sent several emails out. What do we think about this? Should this be on the agenda? And you know what I get?
Crickets.
Chirp, chirp, crick, crick. I have to knock on people's doors. I'm sorry, Nancy. At the end of the day, if you think I'm conversing with him
It's
or
called
Edna
collusion.
or collusion, well, no. I was out for a walk and had a nice conversation with Edna.
You two, yes, and you two talked yesterday or the day
We did
before.
talk.
for quite a while,
Exactly.
right?
We've talked for several hours.
Oh, we have, I know.
And you and I talk. What is the?
Not by choice.
Well, and maybe.
Yeah,
And at the end of the day,
Look,
let's talk about,
wait.
at the end of the day, Nancy, that's fine if you have an attorney,
I
but
do
what you
have a
also
question.
need to realize, okay?
I haven't said I'm
Look.
gonna do anything
Well,
with her.
but at the end of the
But if it
day,
continues, I will.
but at the end of the day, guess what?
You don't care.
As a board, we're protected underneath our insurance company.
Yep.
So all you're
Unless
doing
it's a
is
personal suit.
suing.
No, unless it's a personal suit.
So, all right, let's
So the
bring
bottom
it
line
back.
is
to
here,
the question.
how do we keep the communications in this room and not out on the road?
Okay, so if you only had communication in this room and you only met like once a month, you would never get anything done.
Never.
So you are allowed to communicate less than all the board of directors because you're not making decisions. So if you all three got together and you started coming up with ideas and hey,
Okay.
these are the colors we want, but you gotta bring them to the board. So the process would be, we had a lunch together and we came up with these ideas, get it on the agenda, bring it to the board, make a presentation.
Yeah,
It
it's
should
not
be-
like we had a lunch together and here's the new colors. That's not how it works.
Yeah, 'cause if
The
there's-
board makes the decision. It's not all about one cluster.
No, it isn't. It's about 6.
Okay, but
But only
you're
3
so
seem to
focused
be-
on your cluster and your signs and
3.
keeping everybody out and
No,
it's
I'm not
about
trying to keep
community.
people out.
It's about
I
all
just-
of us.
I just think that when you buy
Look,
place
you
here-
know that we are all in financial distress.
Oh,
Some
yes, we
greater
know
than
that.
others, right?
Yep.
And you know that Charlie's got no money in his accounts and in his reserves.
And nor does
Yet you're gonna
Robin,
say,
and we
wait
don't
a
have much
minute,
either."
you can't have stucco and this because, and you're targeting that. When you know they don't have money, just accept it.
And they're doing the same with the roof.
Exactly.
Same thing.
So why
6%.
target
It's
them?
the same
Why,
damn thing.
It is.
Because it was the procedure. It was
Right.
the procedure.
But in the.
But you're making a big deal about it. Why can't we just do it right from
Why
this
don't we
point
just-
on?
I'm fine with that.
I want
I'm fine
the
with that.
owners present to hear the answer to my question. I'd like the board to hear it also. Because we've talked about the procedures for the board. There was, as you know, the amendment quite a while ago to make sure that when they have an election, that it is each cluster is represented, and then
Yes.
the director at large from all.
Yep.
Okay. That is to make sure that that cluster is represented on the board during an election.
Correct.
Is there any other authority implied in that?
No, so that your job as a director, technically, if you just only want to do the bare minimum, is come to meetings and vote on stuff. What it seems to be in a lot of the clusters, you've taken on a lot of responsibility. It seems like
Yeah.
you have taken on a lot with your clusters, so you have
Because that's
stuff.
what I was handed. That's what I was told I was supposed to do.
Yeah. We need to,
From this
take
point
the
forward,
appropriate
let it
stuff
go.
off that's related to the vendors and all of that. And it seems like you're probably almost taking all of the comments, the complaints, all the stuff from the cluster development. Most directors, what they say is, oh, you have an issue, please, email management and it'll be dealt with.
That's not
and
been done in 7 years of me living here, so it's kind of a tough one to change. So
That's
it's
what's-
something that
that's why
I
we're
need
here
to
to
work
change.
on.
I-
That's something I need to work on, and I'm admitting that. I am admitting that. Turning it all over
It's
to
hard.
somebody else to let them handle it, that's fine, I can do that. But I have to have some kind of an assurance that I'm gonna stop feeling like they're trying to stand me up against a brick wall and take shots, because that's how it feels. I've got him every time I turn around.
I would ask that all of them do that, Charlie. I'm just saying it, I'm not being, Charlie tends to write his emails, they're a little aggressive, and yes, mostly toward Nancy. But no other board member walks in here and just spouts stuff like Nancy
Like
does,
I do.
and starts.
Because I am more passionate about things.
Michael is the most passive aggressive board member
Yes,
we
he
have.
is.
He does this, he does that.
No, just like because.
Yes, you do.
I know why
because
you're
look,
doing it, but.
You know what? I'm always attacked by you. I would love to have a conversation. I'm reasonable, but you like accuse
I don't
me
find that.
of.
Michael, the last time
Okay,
you and I
okay,
were
Okay,
down-
so anyway, we need some conduct help
God,
and
it's
guidance.
ridiculous.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right,
Oh
so.
my God.
What I always try to I did this last night. I was writing an email to an attorney. We've been arguing all day about a resolution, a settlement that's been going on for about a week. And I sat back, and before I sent my email out, it was like 5 minutes. And I came back and reread it, and then I realized, okay, it's not something that I would like to receive, and there's a better way to communicate. So in emails, I think we should take that approach. It's hard, take a few minutes. In our contact and interaction, so for several years, I think I remember the first time I met you, was via Zoom.
I've never met you before.
Over Zoom, several years ago.
Oh, that may be, I don't remember
Yes.
Zoom because I don't even count that as being there.
Yeah,
Because I wasn't on the board.
you were super passionate back then as
I
well.
was not on the board at the time.
Okay. I'm getting the wrong person, but
I think
she
you
was
might
just as
be.
passionate as you.
That's called Judy Mack.
Mhm.
Sorry?
that was Judy.
Her name is
Yeah.
Judy Mack.
Judy Mack, okay.
She is passionate. She has the
yeah.
same goals I do.
Yeah.
Keep the place values up, the place looking good and in great repair.
Go ahead and
People
finish, Jeremy.
want to live here.
Sorry.
They want to, but when you're super over aggressive, sometimes it may turn people off and they may not want to interact with you, or it changes the way they interact.
Yeah.
So self-reflection, that maybe try to tone it down a little bit. Don't just throw out a bomb of a bunch of accusations. I think Jenna was right. If you're gonna, or whoever said it, you're gonna have something, have the info, back it up. But that's also the way you approach when you're having that interaction.
You know what's funny about this whole thing? I am a communication major, and I have thrown everything I ever learned about communication out the window when I walk in this building.
So,
Everything.
we gotta figure out how to bring that back in and, let's use some of those skills that you learned, and maybe then you can educate some of the others. Cause we all of us have a little bit of, we could approach this differently, like you're right. You did it kind of poke a little bit, right?
Well-
Probably felt good.
No,
But
no,
then it made everything a little bit more,
But I think it's a reasonable question, and
This one might have been, but earlier, when you do the you're talking with the gables, so what about the roof? So you're saying if we get, Mike, you
No,
know
no,
you do it.
no.
Okay, then we'll
But
point
no, I
it out
wanna
next
understand
we'll go
why
back
is
through the
gable
video
such a
and
big
say.
deal, but the roof
Yeah,
is
no,
not.
it is a
little
It's the same
different. It's a
thing.
little- well,
That's
what
what
I'm-
It is,
Right,
it is.
why is the roof a big deal and the gable's a big deal, but the roof not?
You are
I'm
absolutely
just
right.
saying.
Mike.
And I was struggling with that when both of them were presented, okay, they are kind of the same,
Yeah.
or maybe a little different.
the roof?
Yeah.
Maybe it's
It looks good, but it was right.
I'm
But
trying to
anyway,
figure
so,
it out.
but to answer the question, Janet, we have to think about the way we're communicating with each other, because you owe it to all of them out there. Like, you're serving them, they elected you to direct, and half our meeting tonight has been arguing with each other.
That's
Mhm.
right, that's right.
So,
And not per cluster,
yeah, and,
all 176.
yes.
That's right.
But I think the first thing is, since we are all in agreement, we're going to start, instead of that, for the last 7 years, where you've just been focused on your own cluster and you're doing everything, give some of that back to Janet, so that she can take that off you, and maybe you can focus on some things that are maybe a little stressful, color selection, things like that, idea creation, instead of being stressed out, and let her do all the hard work on getting the contractors. But yes, the way you treat each other, I think, has to change. 'Cause I
It
think
has to change. Yeah, it does. And I don't see that there's a lot of respect for any of us, among them, among us.
Well, maybe we can all agree that you're gonna try, so we understand. So if you're all getting together, maybe people have the feeling that you're excluding them, try to exclude them, talk about it. So if you come up with a great idea, and you're like, you know what?
Include them.
Oh, excuse me, yes, try to exclude. We don't like that green over there on that paint can, right? Nancy, what colors would you like, you know? Try to be more inclusive and talk to each other. But again, you can't do it as a quorum, but you can do it less than a quorum. And then we make sure that the decisions that are being made are being brought here, so that you, as the board members, don't feel like it's stuff behind the scenes, but then the owners out there, have confidence that everything's being done out in the open.
Does anyone have comments
I
on the
thought we were
parking?
talking about parking.
Parking, yeah.
Okay, when the clubhouse was built, this clubhouse,
Uh-huh.
the new one, the parking spaces in front of cluster one were put there for the use of the clubhouse. If there's a function here, people can park there or out here,
All right.
and that's why there's so many there. It's for not only cluster one and other people, but it's for the clubhouse too, to use that part. So it's not just for cluster one, is what I was gonna say.
Uh-huh.
And also, the social club, I just wanna thank you for not giving me a key yet. To the.
Hold on. We had a conversation, got you into the clubhouse. I have them right here.
Okay.
We just haven't been able to meet. I'm sorry, I went home.
Okay.
I went
Anyway,
home. I
anyway.
have it right here.
We
Parking,
decided
parking,
as the
parking.
social committee to take care of the toilet paper and the paper towels for the clubhouse, if that's okay with the board. The social committee will pay for that,
The money we raise.
the money we raise. Is that okay?
Nice. And how do you raise money?
That's what?
We
We
have a
get
tip
donations.
can. If you would come to breakfast, Michael, you are
We have a
welcome.
tip can and we.
Bring your beautiful wife. Come to
And people give
breakfast.
us
Okay.
tips.
We have a tip can. We
Yeah, we
provide
can
We run it
Everybody,
for
Michael?
$3.50 if we have a function.
Yes.
Okay.
Everyone
Everybody.
is welcome.
All the board.
Thank you.
should
Yeah,
come.
instead of just Tom coming.
And we
Well,
raise a little money.
I don't know if the board, I don't think the board
I
I was
calls
just gonna say, no, yeah.
You can't discuss association business.
I was just gonna say, a lot of times when you have social clubs, and this is not parking either, but the reason the boards don't attend is because the minute they come, somebody wants to talk to them about business.
Oh,
Well, I
They
know.
would rather enjoy their weekend, their
Absolutely.
Saturday, their
But it
whatever.
should be no business.
That's right.
It's,
That's right.
that's the
But
way it
we'll
should.
pay for that, that's.
And you
good.
just tell people, I'm sorry, I'm not talking business,
All right, but on parking, does
What if
anyone
the
else have any
quorum
comments?
shows up to the coffee?
It's,
Well, you're not talking association.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
So I get this question all the
Yes,
time, oh, I saw the board of directors there at Chili's, and all 5 of them were there. Oh, long as they're not talking about association business,
Yeah.
it's okay.
That's right.
What are the chances of that?
Well, the assumption is,
It's the
if you guys
sunshine
are
law.
all together somewhere,
Some- yeah.
people are going to assume
Yep.
that you're doing it, and
Well,
how could you not?
I
You
think
have
at
that
this point in
information.
time, if this board all got together, and everybody's seen it, they'd probably applaud.
So we're
Exactly.
gonna make them go at the social club, they're all gonna sit at the same table and eat breakfast together.
Well, you're
But
gonna have
yeah,
to wear
coming here,
boxing
people are gonna
gloves.
hear you, they're gonna know if 4 of you are
Right.
included. You're right.
Janet, I have a question on parking.
Parking, thank you.
No, Janet's still here. No, when are we gonna get the, parking procedure handed out to everybody?
It's already been.
We emailed it, mailed it, we put it on the website, and we
Everybody's had
give
it.
it to everybody who gets stickers every time. We
Oh,
mailed it.
I didn't get it.
Yes, you did, because you got your copy of the new rules and regulations.
I got the new rules and
That's in
regulations.
there.
It's in there.
The- all of
Section
it.
13.
Everything's in there, that was
It's there.
the changes, we adopted it at a whole separate meeting, everything's in there.
Oh, I thought you did a whole separate,
We
No.
changed the
We
parking
did,
section.
but it was put into all the
Different, yeah.
rules and
It's incorporated.
regulations, and everybody was mailed a new copy of the rules and regulations.
there's only like a little thing on.
That's
rules
all
and
it is.
regulations.
No.
No.
Like a page and a half or
No, there's
something.
Yeah.